Hello and welcome to PRMG's training for operations on HMDA 2018. For 2018, the CFPB has amended the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, meaning for any loans with the final action taken in 2018 and reported in the March 1st, 2019 HMDA submission must accommodate the new changes. The most significant change is that the CFPB is requiring new data points to be reported, most of which are already included in the standard loan file that is in our system, but with the help of a few extra inputs by our operations team. We are also required to provide a more detailed submission of the applicant's demographic information. As such, loan originators will have to obtain the additional demographic information from applicants on any application dated on or after January 1st, 2018. Any loan funded, denied, or withdrawn, final decision made, on or after January 1st, 2018, will have to include additional data points from our loan file, for example, AUS results, FICO scores, etc., as mentioned already. The only exception is that the applications taken prior to January 1st, 2018, but with the final action taken during 2018, will not include the new additional data points from the new demographic information section collected by our loan originators. This means there will be some procedural changes in FT 360 for all loans moving forward in 2018 for ops. The good news, the changes are not substantial. Before we get into the changes, I would like to revisit who is responsible for reporting HMDA. PRMG has an obligation to report transactions in all four channels: retail, wholesale, non-delegated correspondent, as well as delegated correspondent. However, the way we report retail, wholesale, and non-delegated correspondent is different than the way that we report delegated correspondent. For retail, wholesale, and non-delegated correspondent, we are making the credit decision prior to closing, which means we report all denied loans, withdrawn loans, and funded loans. More importantly, we report the loans that we fund as originated by PRMG for the purposes of HMDA, even in the non-delegated correspondent channel. For the delegated channel, we must report the loans that we ultimately purchase from the delegated correspondent. We mark those loans as purchased and not originated. The delegated client will be reporting the credit decision. If they fund the loan, they'll be reporting the loan as originated under their name for the purposes of HMDA. On this slide, you can see all of the different data points that we're required to include in our HMDA submission. As you can see, most of these items are already included in a standard loan file, and it's just a matter of getting it into the actual HMDA submission. The first place we're going to begin is the underwriting summary tool. You will notice that the fields to your right have been added to the credit information section in the underwriting summary. The appropriate FICO score must be entered in the credit score for decision-making field. This is basically the mid-FICO score that we're using for credit purposes. You must also mark the appropriate credit scoring model, which is basically whether or not it came from Experian or what have you. By filling out these fields, the system will automatically pass this information to the HMDA information screen. Next, on the underwriting summary tool, at the bottom you will notice a section called HMDA Factors Not Relied Upon in the Decision. The appropriate checkboxes should be selected based upon factors unique to the actual loan. So for example, for VA IRRRLs and FHA streamlines, you would check the income not relied upon and the debt to income ratio not relied upon boxes because we don't use income in underwriting those different products. Now on to the HMDA information screen or form. At the top of the HMDA information screen, you will need to make sure that the HMDA reporting year reflects 2018 for any loans that are disposed of in 2018. In other words, funded, denied, or withdrawn. By making 2018 the reporting year, the HMDA information screen automatically expands with more details to accommodate the additional required data points that must be reported in our 2018 LAR, or basically the HMDA that we submit to the government at the end of the year. The reporting year should automatically default to 2018. However, if it does not, please notify your compliance department as soon as possible. Also at the top of the HMDA information screen, you will notice that there is a new field called the Universal Loan Identifier, or ULI. FT360 will automatically generate a ULI for retail, wholesale, as well as non-delegated correspondent loans. However, for delegated correspondent loans, PRMG must use the ULI that is generated by the delegated correspondent in their system. In order for a correspondent to generate a ULI in their system, they will more than likely need to obtain a legal entity identifier, or LEI, and input that into their system. Now moving on down the HMDA information screen, you will come across a section called Reasons for Denial. Although PMG has always provided denial reasons to the applicant on their denial notice for loans denied prior to 2018, PMG never provided those denial reasons in our HMDA submission because it was optional. For loans denied in 2018, PMG must now report the reasons for denial in our HMDA submission. It is now a requirement in the new rule. As such, you must select up to 4 reasons for denial that correspond with the reasons selected in the statement of denial form to the applicant. If you not select the reasons in this section, the data will not make it into our HMDA submission. Remember, the reasons for denial section is only used for loans that are actually denied. The system should auto-populate NA on the first reason, and the rest should remain blank for any HMDA action code other than denied. For example, withdrawn by applicant, approved not accepted, or originated. This section I consider to be probably the biggest and most difficult section of the new HMDA changes. A completely new section has been added called Risk Assessment. The underwriter must input the AUS type and recommendation for all loans. For loans that fund, the underwriter must confirm these entries are accurate prior to final approval. For loans that are denied, withdrawn, or otherwise, you must ensure that the information is accurate at that time. The new rules require a total of 5 possible entries. For example, if DU was ran 3 times, you need to input all 3 entries. If DU was ran 9 times, you would input the most recent 5 DU pulls. Most importantly, you need to make sure that the DU pulled to make that final credit decision, whether that be approved or denied, is listed as one of the AUS findings under the risk assessment. The last stop on the HMDA information screen is just below the risk assessment section. There are 2 real questions that you need to focus on. The first one is reverse mortgage. Generally speaking, this will always be marked no unless we are funding a reverse mortgage in-house. For open-ended lines of credit, again, PMG does not really offer open-ended lines of credit at this time in-house. However, if it is a reverse mortgage that we are funding in-house, then it would need to be marked open-ended if it is an open-ended reverse mortgage, or if we are starting to offer a HELOC product, which at this time we do not do. The one closed-ended second loan that we offer is in fact closed-ended, and so therefore that would be marked not an open-ended line of credit. Don't be alarmed. Effective for any application taken January 1st or thereafter, the residential loan application will have a red X through the government monitoring section on page 3. This will be replaced with the new demographic information addendum, where the loan originator will be able to collect the additional demographic information required under the new HMDA rule. To your right is a sample of the new demographic information addendum that will be generating out of FT360 along with the original 1003. For lender disclosed applications and retail files, this will be automatically generated in our initial package as well as our final package. However, for broker disclosed applications or non-delegated correspondent loans where the non-delegated correspondent obviously has to disclose, PMG will require the broker or non-delegated correspondent to provide this demographic information addendum with their loan application or submission package. There is no doubt that some of these different data fields that we have to report in the HMDA information screen seem rather duplicative. As we work our way into 2018, PMG's compliance department will be working closely with the automation team to eliminate some of the inputs that you are required to do as of today. This concludes our operations training for the HMDA 2018 changes. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact your compliance department at compliancegroup@prmg.net. Thank you for listening to this webinar, and I hope you have a wonderful new year.